sing the thunder song. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your thunder buddy and say these magic words.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Thunder Buddies podcast. Second week in a row. The first time in a while. We've been slacking lately, Eric.
Slackery. I'm sorry.
So, to make up for that, we're going to hopefully do two this week, but we're definitely doing one with a special guest, Berry Tramel. I think this is only, second or third time you've been on this year?
I think so, but I appreciate every invitation.
You're
way ahead of the college guys.
Yeah.
Crying out loud.
And they just finished their season.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, they have a policy.
No Berry Tramel?
No Berry Tramel.
What?
It's a policy. It's got to be.
It's a flaw. Anyway, Barry, you were at the game last night. You covered 2 straight games. What about this homestand? Because I was talking to Eric about it last night. They did no signature wins. They played a Mavericks team without their starters, their entire starting lineup. Not a good Timberwolves team. A banged-up Heat team on the end of a road trip. But there was 3 blowouts, 3 games where Durant and Westbrook sat to end the game. I thought 3 impressive wins, a good road homestand.
Well, I mean, that's what you ought to do if you're the Thunder. And you're playing an outmanned foe, you ought to take care of business and blow them out, and that's what they did.
It's just what they haven't been doing.
They haven't done that all the time. So I thought that was encouraging. And last night, I mean, the Heat still a good team, even without Dragic. So, and that was a tight game, and the Thunder turned up the Jets in the third quarter and blew them out. So I thought last night was a very encouraging game. Billy Donovan said he thought it was their best defense of the year, and it was very good defense. I will say that. Bosch may be a little past his prime, but he's still an elite player. And he talked after the game about, he said, I needed a couple more inches on my shot. And he doesn't mean in height. He meant room, and he just couldn't get them. People like Ibaka and Adams and Durant really did a nice job on him. So, the Thunder, we've been critical of their defense, but it's getting better. It has been getting better, and certainly was extremely good last night.
I threw out Twitter questions to people for the first time in a while, and just because you said that, this kind of gets me to this question. I thought it was from Waiters Island, Thunder up 100. What have been the issues keeping the Thunder from top 5 in defense, and what of those issues are fixable? Because, I think this team has a lot of potential defensive talent. What do you kind of think has been the biggest issue? Is it just the bench?
Well, that's the biggest. That's the one thing that's not fixable. At one point, for half this season, they've used 3 guys off the bench that can't guard a statue: Cantor, Morrow, Augustine. They've changed that with Payne, but Payne is still struggling defensively. He gets burned a lot, and a lot of that's just not knowing. He's going to get better.
And at least he contributes some steals.
Yeah, and then, he's active, and he doesn't get overpowered. He just gets lost sometimes. Mm-hmm. So that's going to get better. But Morrow and Cantor, they can't really fix that. And what's interesting to me is that Cantor is actually better than Morrow. Morrow's getting to the point where they're having trouble playing him, I think.
They didn't play him last night.
He did not play last night, even in garbage time, which I've found interesting.
And Singler, it's crazy to say, but Singler's actually been putting in some decent shifts in the past few games. So,
to me, that's a clear sign that Billy Donovan is going back towards defense. Singler has not been great defensively, but he has his moments. He's capable of giving you 5-10 good defensive minutes. So I think you're going to see more of Kyle Singler, especially with it seems that you guys tell me, but it seems the longer the season goes, the more the Thunder and the Thunder opponents, and maybe the entire league, are going small. You see more small ball minutes the longer the season goes.
Yeah, although, what if let's say you're an opponent, do you want to go small against the Thunder and force, because sometimes, you look at the metrics, their best lineups can be Durant at the 4, Ibaka at the 5. Do you want to force their hand into that?
Well, it depends on who you are, probably.
Yeah.
Cleveland probably wouldn't mind, but a lot of people don't have any business doing that. I just think that you're going to see Singler become more valuable. You'll see him playing with Durant some, which we saw last night in that kind of lineup you talked about. Because even if you go small, with Durant at power forward, you still could use a big wing on defense, and that's what Singler gives you. So, I got an email today from a guy who thinks that Billy Donovan's just placating Sam Presti by playing Kyle Singler. But I told him, I said, he's got some value. I mean, he's got some value, and you need to mine it out of him because he doesn't do you any good. Whether you forget the contract, people get too worked up about the contract. The contract has been signed; it's not getting unsigned. So you take what you got and you use it to the best for your team that you can, and that's what you do. That's what Billy's doing by trying to get Singler back involved.
It's really weird because if Singler had just played like this that he's playing now, which isn't like it's not like he's doing anything like wow, Kyle Singler. But if he just played like this early in the season, nobody would even be complaining about him in the game.
That's true.
But he played so incredibly bad,
and he still has these stretches during the games where you're like, man, that was a terrible play.
Well,
he's not finishing around the rim, or he's picking up a quick foul. But with the way the Morrow's playing defense, it's almost like you get why Billy's infatuated with the length that Singler can bring to the floor.
Singler at times has been as stone-handed as Kendrick Perkins, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw him the ball and he fumbles it. I mean and he's not doing that anymore very much.
I know. I was going to say that the weird thing is he's this Duke player, this the winner that they brought in, and he's a glue guy. He doesn't do anything great, but he's supposed to not do anything wrong. Like you said, he was doing like Kendrick Perkins level bloopers early in the season, missing easy layups, and he still does miss some layups where you're like,
yeah, he's not real strong inside,
and he fouls at like an incredible rate. But he's like fixed the, he's just turned back into the player they thought they were signing, and it's tough because I mean every time he comes in now, fans are like, why is he in? But it's like, I don't know, he is kind of helping, like, or he's not hurting.
Here's the other thing. If Payne shoots like he's been shooting phenomenal.
Oh, man.
And if
50%.
Waiters can keep this up, he's played well the last 3 games, well, then you don't need Anthony Morrow on the B team quite as much, and you can go with a more defensive guy like Singler.
Yeah. I think Payne's shot is a huge factor. If he can, if this is him, I mean, not he's 50% from 3 since he's been in the rotation. He's not going to be that, but if he's 45 from 3.
Well, he's a heck of a player.
Yeah.
He's going to play for a long time in the NBA is what he's going to do.
And, like, I mean, we've only seen him play however many games, but I don't, like, to me, this isn't like he's hot right now. Like, he looks like a really good shooter.
Yeah, he does. He looks confident, and he looks like he knows. And what I like about him is he's not just a shooter. I mean, his drive game is good. The floater, the runner, whatever you want to call it, is big league. So I like everything I see from Cameron Payne.
2 years from now, do you think Cameron Payne will be better as a fit with this Thunder team? Like, let's say Durant and Westbrook, and it's still this version of the Thunder team, than Reggie Jackson was by his 3rd year. I kind of do, because Reggie was never a shooter, and you could never really. It was weird when he was off the ball with Russ, because I mean he just couldn't shoot very well.
No, that Westbrook Jackson combo was fascinating to watch, and I'm sure it was incredibly difficult to defend. But you could just take 2 steps back and just sort of fortify and lock down, and if they wanted to shoot, let them shoot. And you can't do that with Payne.
I think Payne's a better passer than Reggie too. Just has better floor vision than Reggie. And I mean, you could see it in the games when Payne gets the ball and he's looking up in transition. He'll find guys in transition sometimes, and it's impressive for the way he is as a rookie to be able to find guys the way he does. And he's also got that game where he's really good about like not coming off his pivot foot. Like, he'll kind of like do that lunge to like make a guy like get out of position, and it's like that weird herky kind of lefty game.
Yeah, he's very in control. Like, even when let's say he picks up his dribble and like the pass he thought was there is not there, he can hold it well. He can and he doesn't seem to turn the ball over much.
He doesn't.
Point guard.
No, he looks like a fabulous draft pick.
Yeah,
we watched last night what everybody thinks was the best draft pick of last season was Justice Winslow at, was it 10? 9. Justice Winslow
10.
10. 10. Justice Winslow at 10. And everybody said, wow.
He wasn't much of a factor to me last night.
No, he wasn't. But in totality, people think this guy's really going to be great. But Cameron Payne at 14 has just been fantastic for the Thunder.
You know what he's the result of? That disaster last year the injuries, everything. Like, they weren't supposed to have their first-round draft pick last year. If they make the playoffs, it was going to Denver. I don't know. I think it got shuffled around to like 8 teams.
No, that's right.
They weren't supposed to have it. They lottery protected it, and he's the result. If he becomes
Yeah, think about that. If the Thunder just wins one more game, or the Pelicans lose, maybe lose that last Wednesday
they don't
night.
have Cameron Payne.
Thunder goes to Golden State, gets beaten 4 or 5, and then no Cameron Payne.
Anthony Davis 3-pointer got the Thunder Cameron Payne.
A lot of different
stuff
things.
got the Thunder.
Wonder if it's worth it.
I'd say it's 100% worth it as long as you. Like, I think it wouldn't be worth it if you said they were fully healthy and going to make a run at the title. But the thing is, with Durant out for the year already.
I'm just talking about finding one way to win another game.
You remember how tired that Thunder team was by the end of the year?
You got a clear rotation player for the future and a potential starter from missing the playoffs with a beat-up team. I think, and getting swept by Golden State in the first round. Not swept, but maybe.
But probably swept.
Maybe
I mean,
swept.
you
4 or
dropped
5. You weren't winning 6. You weren't going 6.
You dropped that tired team. Remember, Ibaka wasn't playing at the time.
Yeah.
Their big man rotation would have been Canner, Adams, and McGarry, and that's it. And they would have been going against like small ball Draymond Green and like that crowd that was like sensing, hey, this is their time. They just won 67
Well,
games.
and here's the other thing. The Thunder small ball works really well because of what? Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
If the Thunder goes small without Kevin Durant,
you know what?
You don't want to watch.
You know what else works good? Because of Serge Ibaka, and he wasn't playing either.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I think it worked out pretty well for the Thunder.
All right. Next question. This is one it's become a big topic kind of around the Thunder. Obviously, Waiters just had 3 good games, but this is from Zion Marley. Hopefully I said that name right. The likelihood of the Thunder trading for a 2-guard. Could it be Courtney Lee? If so, what are your thoughts right now on? I mean, I think if the Thunder make a trade, it clearly has to be for a 2-way wing, 2-guard type.
Well, I think it's most likely they're shipping Waiters out and bringing somebody in. So it's really doesn't come down to. Somebody I don't even know the relative value of Lee and Waiters. Somebody might have to throw in something, but that's really what you'd be doing. So, who do you like better, Dion Waiters or Courtney Lee?
Yeah.
Now, to me, like, is that more of a performance thing, or is that more of like a contract thing? Because they're not going to be able to sign Dion anyway, so they're going to want, or they're not going to want to re-sign him anyway, so they're going to want to get something of value from him. Because you're seeing, like, yeah, he's inconsistent, but anybody that you bring in, is anybody you bring in going to be as consistent as Waiters?
Yeah. I mean, I think, just steadier. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, oh, geez, a 1-9 game where he's like trying to get off his shot.
Yeah.
Where, like, you just want a guy to come in and, like, he's like, he can't shoot like Anthony Morrow, but, he's 40% from 3. He plays good defense every night, and he's not, like, he doesn't have all these, like, really bad nights where he's 1-9, and it's because he's trying to get off his own shot.
It's always,
let me say one other thing, though. Now, if you are going to go to a B team in which you're going to need to use Singler more than Morrow at times, sometimes Waiters is good to have out there because sometimes you're looking around for how you can find some offense, and you never have to worry about finding offense when Waiters is out there. He finds his own offense. Now, whether he's efficient or not, who knows? But he's a guy you can throw the ball to and say, well, we're going to get a shot here.
I like the Courtney Lee idea from the standpoint that I think the Grizzlies might be in sell mode, and I also think that Courtney Lee his numbers stand to improve. His numbers are down this year a little from his usual standard, but they stand to improve when he gets in a lineup with a Westbrook or a Durant. And I've always been boggled by why Courtney Lee's been shipped around as much as he has been in his career. I mean, do y'all have an answer for that?
I don't know that he's been shipped around a ton.
He's been shipped around a good bit. I mean, I guess since he's 30.
Was it Orlando, Boston, Memphis? Is that his track?
I believe I'm about to look.
And I think
he went to Houston for a little while.
Yeah, is he an unrestricted free agent this summer?
I
think he is.
He's 30.
I don't know, but I guess the point with the 2-guard and Waiters, the thing is you have to find a team that believes Waiters can be a piece moving forward. Because the only team that's going to trade for Dion Waiters is one that said, we're going to match what he gets in restricted free agency. We think he can be good enough to move forward with whatever contract they think he's going to get, which is going to be more than people want to believe. You know what I mean? It's in this
Here's
market.
a question I have. The Thunder has generally stayed away from people about to go on to the restricted free agent market.
Courtney Lee is an unrestricted free agent.
He's unrestricted. So he's just, yeah. So, in other words, Waiters has more value than Lee in terms of that because you at least have the option of matching. And here's the other thing. The Thunder historically has not gone to the restricted free agent market with its players. However, it was traded for Cantor with the sole purpose of going to the market if need be, and it was need be. And it didn't turn out financially the way they would have hoped. I mean, he ended up making more than they wanted to pay. However, to me, there's the sense of control is worth something. The sense of, I'm not sitting here totally out in left field and this one guy's whims determine our fate. We got a say in this process. And I think they like that. I think Sam Presti had to feel. I thought it was empowering for the Thunder. So I'm not sure it's such a what we've seen for 4, 5, 6 years out of the Thunder is this is not a process to dally in. It seems to me to be not a bad process for the Thunder to partake in. And if you want to let him go, let him go.
Yeah, I think they're going to be willing to let Waiters walk. I think Alex Abrines lingers more than people realize as a guy they want to bring over, and I think eventually will be. And I think he's going to get too much for what he provides. I don't know. I mean, look, I wrote about his homestand. He went 18 points, 20 points, 18 points, played really well all 3 games. He does provide more defensively than people want to admit.
Yeah, he gets with it.
Robertson's obviously the best, wing defender, but Waiters is their second best. I mean, easily. Beyond if you consider Durant a wing. But I don't know. I mean, were you guys encouraged by the homestand? Beyond encouraged, was it something like, okay, he's figuring it out, or is it just like, hey, this is just Waiters, this is the up, and the down's coming tomorrow?
It's just good to see him get back and have a few consistent games. We know there's going to be another stretch coming where he goes back to doing other not productive Dion Waiters things, inconsistent Dion Waiters things.
What'd you think of his comments post game?
I thought
you were there. Did you read him?
I thought they were insightful. Him talking about how he was fading on a lot of his shots and how he needed to go straight up. I thought that was honest from him, but that doesn't mean it's not going to come back.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I think you know what you're getting with Dion Waiters. I think if you like that, if you can live with it, great. And if you can't, don't try to change him. I think you're butting your head against the wall if you're
consistently
if you're trying to change him. Yeah.
The only thing that concerns me about Waiters, because like that talent in those games are like tantalizing at times, but like throw him in like a high intensity playoff game. A San Antonio Spurs like Game 5 on the road where they need a win, and it's just like, how's he gonna react?
Well, here's what's interesting. I don't know that you even have to go to the playoffs. They got what, 5, 6 games?
You're right. They got some big
5 or 6 games left with the Warriors and Spurs, whichever it is. I think it's 5. See how he does in those games, because that'll be interesting. Because those, first of all, they will be high profile, intense games, and whether Durant and Westbrook play well it's not a referendum on Durant and Westbrook or Ibaka. It could be a referendum on Dion Waiters.
It's true. You guys want to know something funny, though? You remember the Spurs opener here?
Yes.
Biggest game, biggest opener. Remember who hit the 2 biggest shots?
Was it Waiters?
On Tony Parker. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They put him in the post, and Waiters said, "I saw the mismatch, and I went to work."
And they weren't necessarily what you would call optimal shots.
Yeah,
in those
that's right.
situations.
Those fallbacks. One thing I like about Waiters, especially on this homestand, I'd have to think about it before that. He seems to be driving more, and I think that's always a plus.
It is for sure because he's big and he can get there, He carries the ball more than anyone in the NBA. I'll say that.
Yeah,
And he gets
lot
called for
of
so many
traveling
carries,
calls.
and he's just like stunned every time.
Yeah.
That's a call.
You're not AC. You know those cool facial expressions you make are worthless on a podcast. So,
Well, whatever. So anyway, yeah. But the problem is, can he finish at the rim? Sometimes he can't. He has some finishes where it's like, wow, that was really nice. But then sometimes just throws it over the rim. All right. That's a. How about? Geez, we got a lot of questions. Where it's a good one. It seems like when Russell Westbrook shoots less and pass more, OKC blows teams out. Is it really that simple? This is from Thunder Mob 405. I think the stat is, I put it in our.
you saw that. Yeah, I saw that Sunday.
And I believe yesterday he shot less than 17. So they'd be 20-2 in games he shoots 16 or less, and they'd be 10-10 in games he shoots 17 or more. I will say with that stat, usually when they're losing and in high intensity games, he just shoots more because he's trying to bring them back. And then usually if they blow a team out, he's going to shoot less because he's not going to play the fourth.
Right.
So
I think it's a little bit of a shaky formula. What you'd need to see is shots through three quarters would be and how is the Thunder done in those games? Because, like you said, there's a lot of games where Westbrook would have got over 17 in blowouts if you let him play the fourth quarter.
It's true, but at the same time, some of the problem in close games late is he has that I got to do it then. The pull-up threes. That's when sometimes he'll go into the fourth quarter of a close game having taken 2 or 3 threes, and he'll end the fourth quarter having taken 10.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is a problem. But I will say that for the most part, Russell Westbrook has changed his game.
Yeah. Oh.
He's a true point guard in every sense of the word. I mean, his assists are up there with anybody. He's looking always to make the pass. Sometimes he passes too much, which is not something we could ever have said about him, 3-4 years ago. So he's a phenomenal player. And, the thing I said about him 5 years ago, I stand by, which is offensively, I'm really not interested in anybody trying to change him too much. Just let him be.
Yeah. All right. Based on no, never mind that. How about this one? Joel Gillian. Could Cam Payne be the next James Harden? Please discuss similarities and differences. Lefty.
They're left-handed.
Yeah. They're smooth.
They're smooth.
They can score through him. James Harden clearly is bulkier. Can draw fouls easier. He's kind of like you mesh Waiter's body into Payne's game.
And he's has much more guile. Now, the thing we have to remember, though, is to compare the rookie Harden with the rookie Payne. And Harden, as a rookie, was a very good player and very promising, but he was not the James Harden we saw 2 years later when he could take over a game and help propel the Thunder to the NBA Finals. And that's the problem Cam Payne has if you want him to be an all-star, is taking that next step. The biggest step in the NBA is from really good player to superstar.
James Harden, 76 games his rookie year, 9.9 points per game. He only shot 40% from the field, 38 from three. He
was a good, solid player, and you think, man, this guy's a nice player.
And which is exactly what you think about Payne right now. And not only that, Payne's really efficient as a rookie. Rookies aren't efficient like this.
No, that's right. I think the future's bright for Payne, but making that leap, making the Russell Westbrook year 1 to year 2 leap, that's what people don't do very often. And that's what made the draft picks of Westbrook and Harden in successive years so outrageously successful. Not that they just were really good immediately, but they were good, solid rookies, and then they became stars.
Yeah, I don't think Payne. I mean, it's almost weird to discuss this because it's like, okay, Cameron Payne's not gonna be like an MVP candidate down the road like Harden is, but I do think he's got the chance to be like a very good player, like a Mike Conley type. I mean, it's so early to be saying this, but I could see him having a Mike Conley career. I mean,
yeah.
He's in a different situation.
Well, that's true. I mean, and he could be I meant to bring this up when we were talking about Reggie. The thing we don't know about Campaign, we didn't even know about Reggie for 3 years, is his mentality. What is he interested in being, and what is he interested in doing, and how does he want to fit in?
I'll tell you what, he fits in better than I've ever seen a rookie fit in with this locker room. I mean, Russell Westbrook loves the guy.
Well,
which is
their
not
pregame,
easy to do.
Their pregame dance routine is quite entertaining.
You know what?
Completely incomprehensible. I don't know. I don't have any idea what they're doing, but it's clear that they do have some chemistry.
You know what? That the fact that they have all these different weird routines that they both know are coming, it means they spend a lot of time talking about those routines. They're
not. Those are choreographed. Those aren't off the top of their head.
Yeah,
you're right. They've practiced those.
Yeah, and every time I ask Russell a question about Payne, he straightens up. You know, he answers it, and he's willing to answer it, and he answers it well, and he wants to talk well about his rookie. We've never seen him be like a mentor. You know, it's always like, oh, how's Nick Collison gonna, mold this rookie? You know, Kendrick Perkins and Steven Adams. Russell Westbrook, he didn't do this with Reggie Jackson. He didn't do it with Harden. I mean, the thing is, a lot of this is Payne's personality, I think, but a lot of it's also Russell is now older. But, I mean, he's actually mentoring a young player.
Cameron Payne, I hope you're listening to the podcast, and I'm speaking from the heart here. Please, whatever you do, don't listen to anything Westbrook says about fashion. Please. I'm asking you.
You know what? I think you got an issue because the other day, remember, I don't know if you were in that interview, but he was talking about the dancing and Russell. It was after his Euro step, and then he looked across the room and when Westbrook was wearing the poncho and like the hat that had the wooden brim, and he said, "Look at that! That's so swag. He's the king of swag." And I was like, "Oh, what are you gonna be?"
We lost it.
He's gonna have one of those podium games in the playoffs.
And he's gonna be
Payne,
ridiculously.
and he's gonna be like, "Russ, can I borrow that poncho and the Slayer shirt?"
He's gonna be wearing his pants.
Oh, brother. Oh boy. Whoop. Oh boy.
He's a funny kid though.
Yeah, he is.
You don't see rookies just this. I mean,
he's sort of whimsical. But
you can it's refreshing because he is not concerned about how am I looking on the camera because he looks pretty goofy a lot of times with some of the stuff he's doing. But I mean, go pick anyway. That's his. We've probably had 30 minutes of this talking about Payne. So, well, this is the interesting stat. I don't know if this is necessarily a question, but the Thunder are 18-3 this season when Dion Waiters scores in double figures. That's 2 of those lost are when Katie's hurt. I don't know. That's not even a question, but I thought it was an interesting stat. What's more likely for Oklahoma City, a first-round exit or a finals berth? That's from Lester Freeman.
Lester Freeman. That's a reference from The Wire. Anyway, great character. Anyway, I would say...
That was a good character.
I would say more likely is a berth in the finals. I don't think they're going out in the first round. That's not happening.
I think
barring injury.
I would say it's more likely. I don't think either one's likely. I don't think either one's going to happen. I think it's more likely they go out in the first round because you'd have to have 2 upsets to get to the finals. I think they'd have to beat the Spurs and they'd have to beat the Warriors. Meanwhile, just one upset could knock them out in the first round. But with that all said, let me change the dynamic a little bit. There's still enough time left for the Thunder to show us that it would not be a big upset to beat the Warriors or the Spurs. Now, I'm more inclined to think that they could beat the Spurs than the Warriors because of the matchup and the history and all those things. But, we've come to believe in San Antonio and Golden State as super teams, as historic teams. They've certainly played that way. But you can also play yourself down a little bit, and the Thunder can get a lot better. I still think there's something to the getting adjusted to Billy Donovan. This team is trying to play Billy Donovan's way. He's trying to implement new things, a new way of playing, and it's pretty much worked on offense, and it's been slow to come on defense, but there are signs that it is getting better. So I think by the end of the season, things don't have to look the way they do now in terms of odds of beating certain teams.
Do you think that they could potentially go into a series with the Warriors, though, with a mentality that could be different than going into a series with the Spurs? Because they've been there with the Spurs several times over the past however many years. But they've never been in that slugfest series with the Warriors. And do you think that they can go into a series like that with a thought process like, we got to prove we can take these guys down, as opposed to going into a series with the Spurs where they might be tight? We know our deficiencies against this team. We know they've beaten us in certain situations.
I got a question. Who's closing against the Warriors?
Who do you mean, like the lineup?
Yeah. Durant, Westbrook, Ibaka.
Waiters.
Waiters, Robertson would be my guess.
See, that's a concern to me. That's because their small ball. It's the only team that their small ball's not as good as. Usually the
You
Thunder
mean because of Robertson's offensive deficiency?
Yeah, and the problem is the way their roster's tilted. Like, you almost want to just have Steven Adams out there.
Well, I'm big. Steven Adams is my favorite player, but if they got Draymond Green playing power forward or center, sometimes he plays center for crying out loud.
Those are the lineups where it's like, man, you almost just can't have Adams and Ibaka out there. But I think if Golden State's closing with, because I don't think they'll close with Bogut, but they could close with the Zealy. If they close with the Zealy, then you can go Adams and Ibaka out there. I think it's weird because
it's going to be a fascinating point counterpoint. I mean, lots of back and forth. That would be a fascinating
There's
series.
not a lineup there the Thunder are going to throw out there and say that they have an advantage against the Golden State against. I mean, Golden State's going to be able to beat them with any lineup they throw out there potentially.
Well, I think the way to beat the Warriors is you're going to need Kevin Durant to be like MVP Durant, where it's like he's 35, 40 a night. Nobody can stop him. And he's done that against the Warriors. If you look historically, he's roasted the Warriors.
And you're going to need Russell Westbrook to lock in and play somebody on defense.
What the funny thing is, I actually think he'll play, at least in the regular season in those matchups, I think Russ is going to play good defense against Curry because I think he knows who's watching, what the reputations
and
are.
even more so in the playoffs. I mean, I think Russell will come to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, he always has.
He always has.
Always has.
So the Thunder Warriors would be a fascinating. Iguodala is key for the Warriors because he's a guy that can match up with Durant. If
Barnes, man, they got a lot
got options.
Of
they got a lot of options.
Draymond can check Durant at times. I mean,
yeah, they got a lot of options.
I guess that's the point. They need Durant to just usurp all that. Hey, they have this good guy. Iguodala can guard him well. Barnes can guard him well. Green can. Yeah, that can happen. But Durant can also just go off, and they just would.
They could use a lot of 13 of 23 shooting nights from Kevin Durant in the play against the Warriors.
I think that's probably the difference. All right, we just got done with the first half. What was favorite play of the first half?
My favorite play was the Durant touch pass to Canner for the dunk on
Westbrook.
No, not Durant. Yeah, the Canner. Yeah, the Westbrook touch pass to Canner for the baseline dunk on homeboy. I don't know who he dunked on, but he dunked on somebody's head, and it was probably one of Westbrook's best passes I've seen of the year, and I just thought that was a great play. What about you, Barry?
I'm terrible at this. I mean, I don't have a long memory of early season, but didn't something really cool happen in the end of the Clipper game in L.A.?
Yeah, I mean, there was it was a while back. So maybe I should ask you, what was your favorite game of the first half?
Well, I can do that a lot better. I mean, it'd be the Clippers. It's winning at the Clippers because that was
their best win.
That was a gut check, and I thought they really.
Remember, they really went back and forth in that game.
Yeah,
there were some bad turnovers both ways, and there were some big plays. Durant hit like a 15-footer to win it, and then he blocked a shot right after. He blocked a Chris Paul.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. I was the block shot by Durant. So I mean, I'd go with that. But any play in which any play that involves Steven Adams is my favorite. So I mean, if my favorite development has been the pick and roll with Westbrook to Adams
they're lobbing a lot. I think
love-
he has
I
like
love
the
those.
maybe 4th or 5th most alley-oop finishes in the league.
Another fun game that's gotten buried was the double overtime game against Orlando.
It's
way
really
early.
gotten bad. That was the best
That was-
game of
that
the
was
year.
like
I
the
saw
second
that.
game of the year.
I saw that in my hotel room in Lubbock, Texas. It's Halloween, wasn't it October 30th?
Yeah,
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the night
Yeah, it
before
was.
Halloween.
it was. Yeah, no, I saw that in the arena. It was it was
That was
wild.
a crazy game.
I think I said this on the podcast. That my favorite part of that game was like there's this the stoic security guard that stands under the basket all game. You know, they're in like pretty much
Yep.
any arena. They don't move. And then when like timeout, they go and walk out to like the lane basically
Yep.
and just sit there. And it's just supposed to be, they're basically just placeholders so that
Right.
people think they can't run on the court, I guess. And he was just didn't move. That he had no personality the entire game. And then that wild finish happened where it was like Durant 3, Oladipo 3, then Westbrook like half court bank 3. And he came out on the court and like the crowd was going wild. And he started like this. He's like, "Why?" He's like looking at me like, "Wow, this is really fun." And I was like, "Whoa, where did this guy come from?" But
Broke character.
yeah, that was honestly that was my favorite game to cover this year. I'd say, which is weird because it was early and it was Orlando. And anyway, how about this is it. The play I was like, I think Durant's really feeling good. It was in Miami. He did this like crossover. He got to the rim and then he was going up over Chris Bosh. He like switched to the left and threw down a lefty.
Oh
dunk on
yeah, that
Chris
was a
Bosh.
good one.
Yeah, that one was nice. Okay, one last thing. Just give me one thing you think should be fixed with this Thunder team. Is it a Billy Donovan, something in his rotation? Is it how someone's playing? But like a thing that you think needs to be altered right now.
Why don't you start, Barry?
Well, I mean, I wrote about it Sunday. I mean, I said it. I mean, they just need Russell Westbrook to play better defense, and he's capable. And if he does that, things get better fairly significantly.
In your reporting of the story, because I'm around, I hear when you ask the questions. Did you think any of the points that were made to you were fair? Like Billy talking about, he's playing. He's not only operating in 85 whatever pick and rolls a game, but he's also getting screened through 85 pick and rolls a game. Like in that
Yes,
game,
and here's the deal. When I ran the numbers, his defensive numbers aren't terrible. In fact, they're actually pretty good. And it comes down to everything else with Westbrook. We just want more out of him. But Donovan's point was excellent in that he does go through a ton. He goes through more in a game than most players go through physically. And what Billy really meant was this. You got to let him take some plays off, is what Billy meant. And it's not a concept you want to embrace. It's not a concept you want to endorse, but it's the truth. If you write, I see it, I write, what do I write? I write probably 250 columns a year and 700 blogs.
And there's a few blogs.
Some of them I just mail in. I'm out of time. I'm out of energy. I need to post one. I just do one.
And you're like, it's a Friday.
It's a Friday
who's
afternoon.
Who's going to read this like late Friday?
Sometimes you have to
afternoon
do it. Sometimes you have to do that. And the truth of the matter is, we hold Westbrook to a high standard, except on fashion, and we ought to, we need to remember that. Yeah. However, he's still capable of more.
You're right. And it's also a problem is you can be up, I don't know, like 7 on the Blazers in the last 3 minutes and be like, I don't really need to get over this screen as heavily as I can.
Yeah,
and then Damian Lillard just goes, bop, 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 bop. And you're like, did we just lose? What?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So in this league, especially against some of these players, but you're right. All right, Eric, you got one?
I was thinking about Serge, and I was thinking about what Billy said about his substitutions or not his substitutions, but his rest patterns. And he was talking about how if a guy wants to play and a guy comes to him and says he's good enough to play, who's he to stop a guy from playing? And it was almost like Rick Carlisle handled it a completely different way when he came in with the Mavericks. And granted, the Mavericks are an older team, but in this second half, it's going to be interesting to see where Billy Donovan is getting these guys rests, where he's getting them rest going into the playoff stretch. because we've seen Serge take a decline. We discussed it on the podcast before that he may be fatigued or he's lost a step. His rebound numbers are at an all-time low. So I want to see the rest come for these guys. Maybe when they're perfectly healthy to play a game, you see Serge Ibaka.
I think Serge especially. You know what I didn't understand? I mean, look, Westbrook was in the game last night clearly to get his. He was chasing that triple-double.
I didn't like that.
I didn't really like it either, but okay, Russ really wants it. Like, all right, go get a rebound. If you get hurt, like I'm gonna
get out of the way, Kyle Singer. I'm trying to get this rebound.
So I didn't like that, but what I really didn't like was he put Serge back in the game.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I didn't like that.
Really didn't make sense because Serge is not chasing any stats. Instead, he goes in and he's like battling Chris Bosh in the post. Which, by the way, why is Chris Bosh?
Yeah, why is Bosh in the game? Yeah, you're right. It was. I didn't like that at all. Did anybody ask Donovan? I wasn't in with Donovan.
I was at Spoelstra too.
Did anybody ask him why he did that? I mean, I thought that was odd. I mean, we know why he did it with Westbrook, and you can sort of understand it.
That's kind of my point. But with Ibaka, it's like, that guy looks like he needs rest more than anyone on the roster.
Yeah, put Ibaka on.
To your point, I agree. I think Serge Ibaka should sit 5 games. If he's healthy the rest of the season, I think he should sit 5 choice games at least.
You'd set him out some back ends of back-to-backs and things.
And you know what else you could do? You could play Mitch McGary.
That is true.
You could keep him out.
Yeah, and that all of a sudden I'm back to Ibaka. All hands on deck.
But look, if Mitch McGary's going to be a chip, I mean, you'd like to at least.
That's kind of my thing. Like, look, I think he's got talent. Berry was there. One of my favorite things ever on Press Row was, it was the Clippers game, and Mitch McGary had not played his rookie season. He had all the injuries and everything. Kendrick Perkins got suspended. They had some injuries, and Mitch McGary comes to the scorer's table. And I remember sitting next to Darnell, and we're both like, oh, nice. We're about to see a little Mitch McGary. And Barry's like, oh, I could use without it. And then McGary comes in and, like, immediately has a double-double within, like, 5 minutes.
I think 11 minutes he had a double-double.
And then they were, like, bringing him out. And I think Barry was like, why are they bringing him out? It was, like, 5 minutes later. So I'm just like, this guy clearly has, like, talent that needs to be pilfered. And to me, he's suddenly on the Jeremy Lamb track of a player with talent that, because of the numbers, and I'm not even necessarily, it's tough because, like, I don't know where he gets minutes with a team that likes to go smaller more and that has Canner off the bench where you don't really want to play him with McGary. It's tough to get him minutes, but you just want to keep him a little bit happier, and not just like keep him happy, just keep him confident in his own game, or else 2-3 years from now, man, maybe at the trade deadline he's probably a chip at this point. He may be producing somewhere else like Jeremy Lamb's producing in Charlotte right now.
Yeah, you want to see something from him. I mean, and
this was a first-round pick 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm always in the camp that you want to get these guys out there, whether or not they're going to be firm rotation players or not. You want to get the guys out there that are going to be chips to kind of showcase them a little bit. Now, maybe they're scared he's going to get out there and foul 3 times in 2 minutes and be out of the game real quick, like he's done at times before this year. But you want to kind of display him a little bit and show people that he's got a little bit something going on. And unless they want to go online and watch the D-League clips.
I will tell you one thing. He's more excited than anyone in the history of the league to get those 3 mop-up minutes. So when he comes to the scorer's table,
that's what I'm talking about.
Come on, Mitch!
Hell yeah! Let's go!
Yeah, he goes wild when they
he gets
the crowd
excited.
loves him too.
The crowd. I guess that's what wears me out. It's the way the crowd loves him for no apparent reason that I can see. I'd like to see Josh Eustace play.
I check the D-League stats, and I mean, look.
And
I think
I want to see what he does defensively.
He can block some shots, but he.
You don't think he's got much of a future?
No, I think he's a little bit on the Grand Jarrett path. And look, great guy, future. We've talked about it. Future as a future head of an organization.
Get into scouting for the Thunder.
Oh, or get into whatever his Stanford degree is, because he's an incredibly intelligent guy. I just don't think he's gonna be an NBA rotation player. We'll see, though. I guess he's got time to grow. But anyway, anything else? Any other gripes you guys got? Barry's already over there reading the paper. He's ready to think about some NFL.
Well, I don't have any gripes. I think Thunder's actually in decent shape.
Okay, who's your?
They're 29-12.
How you see the NFL playoffs shaking
30
out.
and 12. They're 30 and
They're
12.
30 and 12. They're halfway to 60. I bet. Okay, quick question. Do they get to 60? They only got to go, what, 30 and...
I'm going to say no because the schedule's
30 and
tougher in
11.
the second half. I'm going to say 57, 58 wins, which is...
I think I had him around that in the beginning of the season. I think I had him around 57 or 58, maybe 58.
Panthers, Cardinals.
I'm going to pick the Cardinals.
That's a mistake.
Panthers.
Cam
I
Newton.
trust Cam Newton more
And
than I
that
trust Carson
defense.
Palmer.
I mean, I know the Panthers slacked up in the second half yesterday, but that defense.
Yeah, I'm going to I take the Cardinals.
Do you watch Broncos Steelers yet?
Yeah, I watched it last night. I sort of found out who'd won.
How'd you find out? Oh, well, first of all, let me say, Barry comes to the game yesterday, and I mean, Broncos Steelers is on throughout the arena. All the bowels of the arena, all have
Everywhere.
TVs everywhere. Everyone, is talking about it. It's NFL playoffs. But he tapes the game. He doesn't want to know, and he does a pretty good job. He puts his earphones in. You whistle. You're like walking by the TV where people are talking about it. I just hear you whistling. Like, don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. How did you find out?
Well, at one point in the game, I was watching the Thunder replay because we had the game on the Thunder, the Fox Sports Oklahoma broadcast, and I look up to watch a replay, and they give me the score, and I saw Pittsburgh had 13 points at some point early in the Thunder game, so I knew it was late in the Pittsburgh game. So I knew they had 13, and I didn't know what that meant. And then 8 o'clock, way after the football game, a little bit left in our game, Cliff and Royce sitting next to me. I didn't hear the question, but I heard Cliff's answer. Yes, Denver has home field advantage. So I thought, well, I assume.
You still watch the game, though?
Yeah, I still watched it. And because I was 98% sure. And at one point late, I thought, especially when Pittsburgh's driving with the ball in the lead, I thought maybe the question was, did Denver have home field advantage? And maybe the answer I heard was, yes, Denver had home field advantage. But turns out, no, I heard it correctly. But it was a fun game.
Who you like? I mean, look, the
I like New England.
Yeah,
I
don't
like
know
New
who-
England because the world is a cruel and colder place.
Yeah.
And Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady play for New England.
Who you like in the Super Bowl, then? New England over Cardinals? I like Panthers over Patriots. That's what I think.
Maybe I'm just wishing that Arizona would win because I like Arizona out of those four. But
I'm sorry, but Carson Palmer looked brutal
He looked
against the Packers. And
that
they were
was
kept going to his
terrible.
finger, and like maybe that had a
That
thing
was
with,
quarterback
he
brutality.
was sailing. He was so lucky to get out of there with the win.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But Larry Fitzgerald, I love Larry Fitzgerald. And I love those Cardinal DBs, Peterson and all those guys.
I like it all, but if you're throwing crippling interceptions against teams that aren't the Packers, who were terrible by the end of the year, you're losing.
I got a good Larry Fitzgerald story. And it's not even about Larry Fitzgerald. It's about Larry Fitzgerald Sr.
He's a writer.
The
He
writer,
is.
yeah. And,
Yeah, when I was in Minnesota,
Yeah.
I was in the Thunder locker room, and a guy walks in with a Larry Fitzgerald Arizona Cardinals number 11 jersey on. And I look at his credential, and it says Larry Fitzgerald on it. And I turn to the man, and I say, "Sir, this might be the stupidest question in the history of the world, but are you the father of Larry Fitzgerald?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "That is very cool." And then he proceeded to dap up Kevin Durant and then leave the locker room. But yeah, I met Larry Fitzgerald.
So what exactly does he do in Minnesota? Like is he like a columnist? What
Well, he wrote back 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I haven't followed him in a long time, but he wrote for I think it was a weekly paper. I think it was the Minneapolis version of Our Black Chronicle, which is the community paper in the old historic black section of town. I don't know. Is that what he's still doing? And
I didn't ask him beyond that, and I'd have to look it up. But I know he was there with the media. I mean, he had a credential.
At this point, he's watching his son play, which is not a bad life. I just remember it was really cool. Remember when Larry Fitzgerald was in that first Super Bowl and his dad was covering it, and that was like the big story. But all right, well, Eric, who you got? I said Panthers over Patriots. I guess he's saying Cardinals over Patriots, or is it
me?
Patriots over?
No,
Cardinals?
Patriots. Patriots going to win the Super Bowl because
Yeah.
the earth is not a fair place.
I'm far too rational. I pick the Spurs every year unless otherwise. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Patriots over the Panthers. I really like the way the Panthers are playing, despite them giving up those points in the second half to Seattle. They're playing the way Seattle played when they went to their first Super Bowl and they won defensively, and they've got that swagger. But I can't bet against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. It's just not a smart thing to do.
Have neither of you watched Making a Murderer?
I haven't. You told me to watch it every time I've seen you for the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Have you, Barry? You haven't seen it?
No.
I want to see your theories on it. You got to watch it on Netflix because I think your theories on it would be hilarious. But we can talk about that off the podcast. All right, we will talk to you again maybe later this week, maybe Thursday. Don't quote me on that though.
Durant pull-up jumper off the rim and and the Thunder win! Come on, let's sing the Thunder song. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.